Oh, yes, guten Tag. I am Carl from Die Hard, and I know what you're thinking. I thought you were dead. I thought you got killed at the end of Die Hard. Actually, I did not. For those of you who may remember, I was shot with a .38 Special, which is the firearm equivalent of set phaser to stun. So, I mean, as a side note, I gotta say, I can get what's going on in this country right now because, I mean, look at me. I wasn't resisting arrest. I was exercising my rights in public. Next thing you know, some desk jockey cop puts 2 in my bread basket. I mean, what the hell? Anyways, I think I was just being targeted because I was a foreigner. But I'm just going to, as they say, put up the line in Kugel for a second. And we're going to talk about this video, the Steyr AUG. You're probably sick and tired of hearing about the Steyr AUG. Of course you're not. Anytime TFBTV runs a video about the Steyr AUG, it gets plenty of clicks, and for good reason, because the Steyr AUG, as me, Carl, my gun of choice, I think it's pretty badass. I mean, let's be honest, guys. I couldn't hit shit. I couldn't hit I mean, watch this movie again. I couldn't hit a goddamn thing. I'm gonna be totally honest with you right now, okay? I'm a lot more into guns than I used to be. But when I got the AUG, I did it because it looked cool, okay? Most of these jobs that we do with Hans, you don't have some off-duty cop, tough guy cop running around. You just go in there, you wave your guns around a little bit, you know, you fire a few rounds off, and you get what you want. You get all the bearer bonds that you could ask for. So I got it because, first of all, it looked cool. Okay. But second, every asshole in the crew had an MP5. And I wanted a little bit of recognition. We didn't really have, like, I couldn't be like captain of the terrorists. We didn't really have like ranking. So I wanted something to kind of, you know, so everybody knew that I wasn't the boss, but I was like the assistant boss or assistant to the assistant boss.
No one kills him but me.
So, I mean, I thought having a bigger gun than everybody else, that would really solidify my stature within the organization. And so that was really a secondary or tertiary concern for me picking the Steyr AUG. But then, John fucking McClane.
We're both professionals.
Ruins it, makes me look like a jerk in front of everybody. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't hit a thing. And there were some problems that I have since addressed. And I figured I'd make a video about it because there were issues that I had. And also now at this point, after getting out of prison and doing some work release and what have you, I don't really have a ton of money. I did somehow, I mean, I don't know why I love this country because I got my AUG back. They just kept it like in the, I checked in with it in prison. They gave it back to me on my way out with like my clothes and stuff. So that was kind of cool. But I don't have a ton of money, so I didn't want to spend a lot. First, and I think we're all going to agree, one of the things you need to address right away with the Steyr AUG, perhaps the most glaring issue it has, is the trigger. Not only is it a bullpup that works with an extended trigger bar, but the entire trigger and hammer group is plastic. It's made out of polymer. So it gives it a trigger that I think gets a worse reputation than it deserves, but it's certainly not a good trigger. So how can you fix this? Turns out, all you need to do is replace the plastic sear with a metal sear. Kind of a weird thing. I wouldn't have thought that that would work. So Ratworks, aka 2020 Precision, they used to make a metal sear that you could drop in, and I think it cost around $100. And you could drop it into the Steyr AUG, not exactly the easiest install, and it only cost $100 for a fantastic trigger. So they sold these for a while, then they stopped selling them. What happened is all of a sudden you have people selling these 2020 Precision triggers for $400 on Gunbroker. Fortunately, Ratworks just started making them again, and I bought one of their $100 metal sears. Unless it involves killing people manually, Karl is not very good with his hands. So I went to Gretna Gunworks and I got legendary gunsmith Henry to do the install while we all supervised. I field stripped the AUG for him, which is surprisingly easy to do. You can even get the complete trigger pack of the Steyr AUG out of the back of the gun without any tools. It's pretty amazing. I mean, this gun was so far ahead of its time in 1977 when it was made. I gave Henry the instructions that I got from Ratworks. He dropped it in there and wow, I was impressed. And so was everybody else at the shop. Like, they couldn't believe it. Everybody wanted to give the trigger a pull.
Oh wow, yeah, that's much better. That's really good for a bullpup.
I like that a lot.
That's crazy how what that one part does to change that.
This reset, check that out. So this trigger is now worlds better. I mean, for $100, this is the best upgrade you can get for the Steyr AUG, period. So we got that fixed. But another issue with the AUG is that you're stuck with this vertical foregrip. And Karl personally doesn't like the Heineken can grip. It's a little bit like the first time you go to a school dance with a Fräulein and you don't really know where to put your hands. It's just kind of awkward. The handiness, support handiness of this gun's kind of awkward. Also, your low light options are quite limited. You can see on this AUG A3M1, one of the newer AUGs, there's a little bit of Picatinny rail here. So you could mount a light that you could reach if you want to, but that light would be pretty far back on the receiver and you don't really get to access it as readily as you might be able to if it were near your vertical foregrip. Well, fortunately, again, talking about 2020 Precision, they make a double-sided rail component that fits right here that would allow you to mount not only a vertical foregrip of your choice, but you also have ease of access to whatever light you want to put on the gun. So you maintain the stability, if not have better stability, depending on how you like to hold the gun, and you get a little bit more space. The rail costs $95, which is a little bit pricey for a small piece of rail, but it's very well engineered. You've got several sets of set screws. And by the way, Ratworks and 2020 Precision, they have no idea I'm even doing this video. I paid for these components with my own Deutschmarks, just like a regular asshole. Of course, I have to mention that there are other companies that make great rail products, including Corvus Defensive, who has actually collaborated with Steyr, and you can order Corvus's stuff through Steyr's website. But in my opinion, the 2020 Precision stuff is really well made, and it's a little bit less expensive. On my original AUG, I had the Donut of Death magnified optic, which is known for being excellent glass, even though it only gives you 1.5 times magnification. And you know, back in the day, it was pretty awesome, but nowadays, all the rage, Lpvos, low-powered variable optics. That is, optics that can go from 1x all the way up to even more sophisticated modern Lpvos can go all the way up to 10x, which is incredible. I just wanted a modest 1 to 4x or 1 to 6x on here. So I got a Trijicon AccuPower for $499. Super clear glass, great Lpvo, probably one of the best ones dollar for dollar that you can get. It even has a BDC reticle for 223, so you can calculate your ballistic drop of your 223 rounds out of your Steyr AUG. So it seemed like a match made in heaven. But then I installed it and I realized this gun has almost no rail space on the top of it. Corvus Defense makes a fantastic extended rail that goes along the top of your AUG, gives you more real estate for mounting optics and backup iron sights. But then I looked at the price, woof, 189 euro. I've already spent $195 on this thing just to get the better trigger and to replace my vertical foregrip with some accessory rail. Plus I dropped $500 on my optic and I still had to pick up backup iron sights. Karl came up with a solution. Instead of spending 189 euro on that Corvus Defense extended rail, I was gonna have to buy iron sights anyway. So I said, you know what? I've got enough space here to mount my Trijicon optic, but also install offset iron sights. Are offset iron sights ideal? No, not really. But I think in the context of an Lpvo on the Steyr AUG, they actually make a lot of sense, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I didn't have to spend any extra money and they would still fit with my optic. Second, these are backup iron sights. They are backups. So yeah, I'd rather have conventional iron sights, but the backups seem to work just fine. Another thing, so I've got my Lpvo, but let's say I've got my Lpvo chucked out to like 3.5 times magnification. And then boom, all of a sudden, John McClane. I see John McClane, or I see Carl Winslow, the police officer, right there in front of me. All I have to do, rotate my AUG over a little bit, and boom, now I have no magnification and I can engage targets at close quarters very rapidly just by cocking the gun about 45 degrees, which is very easy to do with this Steyr AUG because it handles so well. So what sights did Carl go with? Well, of course, I went with the HK style offset sights made by Troy because they give you a similar profile, a similar sight to what you would find on most HK rifles, which I, of course, am very familiar with and I believe is a superior system. So those are my favorite sights, and I was really glad to see that Troy made their standard HK style sights in an offset variant, and I got them for less than 200 bucks. And you know what? I'm not even gonna count that towards the price of the build because I was gonna have to spend around 200 bucks anyways for good backup iron sights. So there it is, guys. We just made the ultimate Steyr AUG on a budget. We didn't spend a whole heck of a lot of money, but we made this gun much more effective. Had I known then what I know now about the Steyr AUG, the outcome, I swear to you, would have been a whole lot different. I would have been more effective in low light operations because I would have had a place to mount a flashlight. This gun would have been easier to handle because I would get to pick where I mounted my vertical foregrip and what kind of vertical foregrip that I wanted. I would have been much more effective at close range and at distance because I would be using an Lpvo of 1 to 4x, that is 1-time magnification all the way up to 4x magnification. And if I wanted to keep it all the way out to 4x, I would have had my awesome offset backup iron sights. Finally, last and certainly not least, I would have been much more accurate because I would have had a much better trigger after spending only $100. I want to say thank you to TFBTV sponsors, Top Gun Supply, your online shooting sports superstore, Ventura Munitions, best place to get ammo online, and Blue Alpha Gear belts. They make belts that are tougher than fire hoses. But most of all, I want to say donka to you for watching, unless you're John McClane, in which case you can go fuck yourself. Guys, if you like this content, do us a favor. Hit that little subscribe button down there. Get ready for Die Hard 6 or 7 or whatever it is that's going to be coming up next because Carl's making a comeback, I swear to God.